Hello, I'll give everybody a minute to join in. Forgive my hair, I have worked all day today. Tonight we're going to talk about the Tunisian cowl that we're starting here. It's going to be a rectangle shawl. People are getting their swatches done. I shouldn't really call it a swatch. It's more of a practice piece. Hi Stephanie. Hi Angela. It's more of a practice piece, and the practice piece we're doing because I want everybody to be able to learn the stitches. Hi Melissa. And in learning the stitches, then you'll be able to do the T-cowl effortlessly. The videos are still going to be here so that you can pop on if there's something you forget. We did have a question about the... Hi Edie. We did have a few questions about the stitch that we're doing, the slanted stitch. Some people were taught this and they're calling it a twisted stitch, but that's not correct. When you have your vertical bar and you're coming in, if you guys were crocheting along, you would come in from this side with your hook and go up and then do your yarn over, and it does cause the stitch to twist. But for the twisted stitch, when you have your vertical bar, you're coming in from this side and going down, and then when you pick it up, it's actually twisting the front stitch. It's not twisting in the back. So it's different. Hi Faith. Hi Amy. Hi Melinda. Okay. So, it is different. I know that some people are teaching it as a twisted stitch and it's a slanted stitch, and I don't know why, but even if you go into any of the older books, it will teach it that way. It shows the stitch and it shows that you're going in from the opposite side and you're just going from the bottom to the top of the stitch. And what it does is when you go from the bottom to the top of the stitch, it twists the back of the stitch. So, but it is called the slanted stitch. The twisted stitch comes in from below and the opposite side, but then when you put your hook in, you're twisting it the opposite way, so you're getting like a purl bump, and we do not want a purl bump. Hi Debbie, hi Karen, hi Gloria. Okay, so the practice piece is up. You can do that in any yarn you want to. The object of this is not to get gauge. It is for you to be able to learn the stitches. Now, we're going to have, it's going to be 12 rows if you count your cast on foundation row, which is where you chain and then you go in and you cast on all the stitches. If you want to count that and put your stitch marker in it, that is going to be your row 1. It's not really in our pattern. Our row 1 starts with a Tunisian simple stitch, purl stitch, simple stitch, purl stitch. That's to keep your bottom from curling. Then our pattern starts, and you're going to do 10 rows of that, which is the Tunisian simple stitch, slanted stitch. And every even stitch is going to be a, because we're chaining 126 if you're doing it with the 3 light, okay. And then, so stitch 125 is an odd stitch, so it's going to be a simple stitch. And then for stitch 126, that's your edge stitch, and edge stitches really aren't worked. So you're going to do the normal, go through both legs of the V that's on the end, and I do show that in the videos. So that should help. After you do the 10 rows of the border stitch, you'll have 12 rows, and then you're going to work the 11 stitches, and then your knit stitch, and then the border stitch that we're doing, and then you're going to do 10 rows of the knit stitch. Then after the 10 rows of the knit stitch, you're going to do the border stitch again for another 10 rows, and then you're going to do the Tunisian simple stitch, the purl stitch, simple stitch, purl stitch, and then we're going to do the slip stitch bind off. There will be a video for that too as well. Hi Rita. I do like seeing everybody's practice pieces coming along. They're looking fantastic. I'm super excited to see. We have had a few people that said that they cannot get DK weight or that they're having trouble getting DK weight. So I will be adding the stitch count for the worsted weight yarn if you want to do it in the worsted weight. So I'm going to have the stitch count for both of those. So do we have any questions on the T-Cal so far? How's everybody's practice pieces coming out? Do you have any questions? Anything, feel free to ask. The practice swatch or practice piece that I'm doing in a worsted, number 4 worsted weight. And let me turn this around. I am doing the knit stitch, and you can see the knit stitch is a little bit shorter, so it does curl a little bit. So if you see the curling, you know, don't panic, because we are going to do, hi Sissy, Gloria says, hope to be able to do the practice stitches this weekend. Crazy week, won't get to it until then. Yes, I know, it's been crazy with the weather and my phone, and I need a new phone. It's been kicking me off Facebook, and so, yeah, it's been crazy here, too. Linda says, I haven't started yet, working on a Graphghan. Hi, Linda. Yes, this is going to be up for a while, but I wanted to be able to add the practice swatch or practice piece into the group so that everybody could learn the stitches, because they are new. I know that, you know, we call this the Graphghan Boutique because originally, you know, that's mainly what we teach here is about Graphghans and how to clean your lines up and what else to do. Hi, Kathleen. And I had so many requests about my Graphghans in the back of them, and that's how the group started. And everybody has expressed interest in the T-Cals. So, you know, I think this is the best thing. And since it's a teaching group, it's good for everybody to learn new stuff, you know. And I like it because I do like teaching, and we get to go nice and slow here. Linda's at work, and she got half of her practice piece done. Yeah, so as we're working on this, like I said, as you can see on mine, the knit stitch is shorter, and it's going to cause it to curl a little bit. Please, please, please do not feel like, since this is curling the knit stitch, it's wrong. It's going to curl because the knit stitch is a pinch shorter than the Tunisian simple stitch or the slanted stitch. Stephanie says, I think it feels like a ribbed stitch. It does. It does look a lot like the rib stitch in knitting. And it kind of is ribbed, but I wanted to call it the actual stitches that we're using because if you look up rib stitch, there are so many rib stitches on YouTube and patterns that people have come up with where, like, it's a knit purl pattern, and I wanted to be clear so that everybody could follow with what's going on. And again, I will have a worsted weight count if you guys cannot find the DK weight, or you don't like working with it, or you don't feel like doing so many rows, because the DK weight is much thinner. There's going to be a lot more rows. And with the worsted weight, you're probably going to have about a third less rows. And this is actually the piece that I'm working on, and see how the sides kind of ruffle a little bit. It's, unfortunately, this is thrown, this has been tossed in my bag, and I had a yarn pull on it, and I'm going to have to go in and try to figure out exactly what happened and if I can fix it, because if I can't, then I'm going to have to come in here and I'm going to have to frog several rows, because since I had this thrown in a bag, I now have a hole in it right here. So, do we have any questions so far about anything that's going on with this? I know that I'm trying to move this along so that it kind of goes faster and that everybody has a chance to catch up, but I also don't want people to get lost. So, because I know it's easy to do, especially with the fact that we're learning all these new stitches and, you know, there's so much going on here. I don't want people to get lost or get confused or, you know, give up, because, you know, it's important to me that you guys all learn here, because I do like teaching, and that's the importance here for me, is that, you know, we have the ability to go real nice and slow. We have the ability to message back and forth and catch up, and I think that that in itself is fantastic, because I know how hard it is to find some stuff sometimes, or find exactly what you're looking for, or to get a good explanation for stuff. So several people have said they want to do it number 4 yarn. Is that possible? Yes, I just said that I will have the stitch counts up for that. Here, it's going to be released with a pattern. I do think that the worsted weight yarn feels, I don't want to say cheap. Since it's heavier, it's not as soft, and it doesn't have that drapey feel that the DK is. The DK is working up almost like a luxury, shawl. It's coming out super soft. I mean, everywhere that I take this thing, people are constantly talking about how A, it looks like it's knitted, B, it's so soft. They love how thin this is, and it's working up so nice. I'm really, really impressed with this. For this shawl, it's going to be, you know, lightweight, but it's going to be enough that, you know, it's going to be lightweight, but it's also going to have the texture and the thickness that I think is going to suit several different weathers, and it's not going to be too hot for spring. You know, even if, like, for summer, it's not going to be too hot if you're out and it's a little bit, you know, you're trying to block the sun, but it's, you know, not scorchingly hot. I think that this is, I really like the way that this is working up. It really is feeling like, the DK to me is really feeling like it's working up as a quality piece. It's making it feel, I guess the word would be higher end. And just like that, my hole's fixed. That bugs me. I don't usually, like, throw my project in a bag, but we had a doctor's appointment today, so we got called back, so I shoved it in there, and my hook got stuck on it. Linda says, I'm going to order my yarn next week. I'm using my holiday pay on myself. I'm going to use your yarn, but in the baby pink. I do think the baby pink would be nice. I wanted something that was going to go, it was going to match with a lot of the projects, or the clothes that I wear. And for me, I wear a lot of denim. I wear a lot of burgundy or fuchsia, and this bluish teal kind of color is just something that's going to make all the clothes that I wear, especially my tops, colors that I gravitate to, it's going to make them pop, and I really like that. Pat says, hey, I missed the beginning. Can a newbie do this? Yes, there is video tutorials for each part, and right now we haven't even started the shawl section. Right now all we're working on is the pattern repeats, and we're doing a practice piece, and I think Erica kind of pinned it toward the top of the page. And the practice piece, what we've done so far is we've done the main cast on and cast off, then we've done the Tunisian simple stitch and purl stitch. There is a video for that. That's the video 1. Then video 2 is the simple stitch and the purl stitch to make this kind of ribbing section. And then we started the next part, which is the Tunisian. It's gonna explain the border to you, and then we're working the knit stitch, and there's a video that shows you how to do the knit stitch, and then we're working the border. And like I was explaining to everyone, the knit stitch is a pinch shorter, so it does curl a lot, but once we get to the other end and we do the other side of the border, it will work itself out flat, so it's going to be perfect. This is beginner friendly. You will need, I am going to have the information up for the DK yarn that I'm using. And as I was saying, you can do this in a worsted weight. Here's the thing. The worsted weight here, it's nice if you want something that's heavier. If you're going to be really much in a cold climate, it's nice. To me, the DK weight, the way that it's wearing up or working up, to me feels like a higher quality. It's so nice and soft. It feels higher end to me, and it looks higher end, and that's a lot of the compliments and stuff that I'm getting on as I'm working on it. Let's see, what did I miss? Karen, is worsted 8 numbered 4 yarn the same thing as cotton yarn like peaches and cream? Number 4 yarn is what, if you were over in the UK, it's considered Aran weight. If you're in the States, number 4 worsted weight yarn is, oh goodness, hold on, I gotta retrieve a skein. Number 4 worsted weight yarn is regular, like, I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby. It's just regular yarn, and it will say, where is it on here? I know they discontinued this. I'm trying to find it on here. Right in here it'll say, this one says 4 medium. And I know that 4 is super, super hard to see. And it's backwards. But that's what a number 4 worsted weight yarn is. It's a number 4. The DK that we're using here, this is considered a 3 light. And I know nobody can see this without their glasses, but that says number 3 light. Peaches and cream is like a number 4 worsted weight. Cotton, I don't necessarily know if I would want to do a number 4 worsted weight in cotton. I think it would be too heavy. I think if I was going to use a cotton, I would use something that was a DK weight or even a fingering weight. So that should help. Hi, Bonnie. Yeah, Pat, the videos are kind of at the top of the page. There's a post, and then if you look in the comments, the videos are under there. So you can hit each video, and it's going to be pinned at the top of the page for a while as an announcement. And so you guys can go in and just watch the video and follow along, and they go super slow. I'm trying to find something that I can film over my lap that's going to work. Right now I bought something, and it's just not working out the way that I thought it was going to after waiting for it to get here forever, because it got lost. So then I had to file a claim, and Amazon had to ship out another one, and you know, with the holidays here, that was fun. So, hi, Valerie. Yes, Pat, a DK weight is, there's kind of like regular worsted weight yarn, which is what, you know, it's a number 4. That's pretty much what people use for their Graphghans and everything else. Then there's like a sports weight, which is like baby yarn. I think Karen Simply Soft is actually considered a sport, but I could be wrong. No, they're saying this is a medium number 4. Karen Simply Soft is a little bit thinner. So the sports weight is just a little bit thinner than the number 4 worsted weight yarn. It's more like a 3, and then this DK is a 3, but it's considered a light 3. It is, come on. This is DK, and this is a number 4 worsted weight. So it's about half the size of the worsted weight, if not even a little bit thinner than that. Thank you, Angela. She said DK weight falls into the category of 3 light yarn. Linda said it's working up very heavy. I bet it is. Hi, Lisa. Yeah, the worsted weight, like I said, I am not going to say you cannot do this in worsted weight. I will give you the math for this. I've sat down and figured out the math for the worsted weight. To me, the worsted weight is working up almost like a blanket. It's working up kind of heavy, and I guess if this was something you wanted because you're really cold, then that would be good. Like I said, the DK weight, this Soft and Sleek from Hobby Lobby is $4.99 a skein, and the way I figured it is for each 16 inches tall you are, you're going to need a skein, and it's $4.99. So we're making this shawl. If you're 6 foot, you're going to need, even if you bought 5 of these, we're still making it for under 20 bucks. You know, especially if you go the second week. If you go the second week when they have their yarn on sale, then you're getting 30% off. So you're getting it, like, I went the other day and bought 3 skeins, and so basically with the sale that was going on, I bought 3 skeins. I basically got 1 free. Angela, would you recommend the same size hook for the worsted weight? Actually, no. Worsted weight calls for an H, which is 5 millimeters, and I am using a 8 millimeter, so I actually have gone up from the 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5. There is a 7 millimeter, and there's an 8 millimeter, so I actually have gone up 5 sizes to get this to lay as flat as it is. Other than that, it's really curling. The knit stitch tends to really curl, so I'm going up, like I said, the 5 sizes. And that will be on the pattern too. For some reason I thought I put it on my post that I was using an 8 millimeter, but maybe I did not. Like I said, things have gotten a little hectic here. It's hard to work nights and then be up during the day and not be used to it, because there's some days that I work days, and then there's some days that I'm working a night, coming home, sleeping for 3 hours, and then working a day. So there's no set shift. It's not like I work nights one week and days another week. So yeah, it gets a little tiring here. So do we have any other questions so far? This shawl will be up. We're going to create an event, and for those of you that are not familiar and you're on your phones, when you come into the group and you click this hook that I'm using does not say what 8 millimeter is. I think it is an 11, Melinda, but I am not sure. Let me see my other set of hooks. Yes, it's an L and 11. It's a US 11. So that'll give everybody a chance to get their yarn. We're going to be putting the tea cow up in the events, and as I was saying, if you go to the top of the page and if you scroll all the way up, there's tabs that will say announcements and files and albums, and there's a whole thing. You can scroll back and forth. There's like 9 of them, I think. But anyway, when you're doing that, you're going to look, and it's going to say events. A couple different events. This is going to be the rectangle shawl event. And then as we get further in on it, I'm going to post a picture of it, and then y'all get the opportunity to go on and post a name, because it's not been named yet. Post the name, and then what we're going to do is set it up so that people can post what they like for a name, and then we're going to shut the comments off, and we're going to ask everybody to like the comment that they like the best. Whatever name you like the best, you're going to like it. The one with the most likes, we're going to take the top couple of those, and we're going to add those into a poll, and then from there, the ones in the poll, we're going to ask you guys to vote on them to see what name you guys like the best, and the one that picked the name that everybody likes the best, then that person that had that name, we're going to send them we're going to send them a gift for picking out the name that was so popular and got picked. Yeah, Angela, I probably should have put on there what I ended up using for the worsted weight. I figured 3 sizes bigger would be good, because I knew so many of us were actually doing our swatch in the DK weight, and when I started working with the worsted weight 3 sizes bigger was not big enough at all, and it was really curling. So actually I had to go up 5 sizes to get it to lay flat. And with that 5 sizes bigger, that's what I ended up putting the swatch measurements. So when we do put the instructions up for this, it's going to have, if you're using worsted weight, to use the L11 8mm hook, and for the other one it's going to tell you to use a hook that's 3 or 4 sizes bigger. It's going to depend on the DK weight that you are using. That does vary. Not all yarn is the same weight, even though it says DK. So Kim said, hello, horrible reception today, storms keep killing the internet. Yeah, I know, we're getting hit with a snowstorm right now, and we had ice and rain earlier, so I'm over the snow. So, hi Sandy. So like I said, please don't panic when you see your swatch and it's curling where the knit stitch is for this practice piece, because this is not what we're doing. This is to learn the stitches for what we're doing, so don't panic. This is something that you can ultimately make a washcloth out of. You can take this thing when you're done with it, you can frog it, you can cut it, you can make it into a baby blanket for your kids, baby dolls. It can be whatever you want it to be. What brand kind of hook are you using with the practice block? Actually, Gloria, I ended up picking up, I have those cheap hooks that were from like Wish, and they're absolutely terrible, and they stink, and they're plastic, and they've got this huge long cable, and I absolutely hate them. But they were sitting in the bin next to me, so I grabbed this one to do the practice swatch for my worsted weight yarn, because this color is something that it was from a project that I started to work on, and I really didn't like how the colors were working up. So it kind of ended up in a, I don't want to call it a junk bin, but it was like a, where I tossed the hooks that I didn't like and the yarn for a project that I didn't like. So that's why I have this. I do not recommend these. I do not like these. It was just here and I grabbed it and was up here working, so I just did with what I had. I do not like these at all. They feel super cheap, and actually I'm waiting for the cable to fall off of this one any minute. I am actually working on the piece that we're going to be doing here. This one is the Chiagu set that I'm using, and that's what I'm using for this one. And one of the things that I was going to do too is, a few people had asked, we have so much going on with this shawl, a few people had asked, since we're going to do the giveaway with the name of the shawl, we're also going to be gauge swatching a finger yarn, because as everybody knows, Harley Quinn has a new movie coming out, and I am going to be doing this shawl in Ria's Little Favorites as well. And this is going to go up for an auction piece for our school. Our school colors happen to be black and red, and this is going as a Harley Quinn piece. And I am going to be using the Wicked Red. So one side of the shawl is going to be red and the other side is going to be black. So it's going to be like a Harley Quinn shawl. I need a Knitter's Pride and an L. Oh, an L didn't come with your set, Angela. Did you buy the Knitter's Pride Tunisian Dream set? Gloria L, I was just curious because it was pink. Yeah, I don't recommend these. And as far as the L goes, Angela, it's dark green in your set, so if you need to look for it. Bonnie, I love that colorway. Yes, I know you do, Bonnie. See, that's your motivation, Bonnie, to go in and give the greatest name for this, and then you could choose between a Denise set of hooks or the Wicked yarn, and I will put in an order and get the yarn shipped to you. And then you could do it in the Wicked yarn as well. Melinda says, I have the same colorway. I do really like it. Linda says she keeps losing sound. I hope nobody else is. I know that we're having a storm here. And I know a few other people are going through the storms. So, do we have any questions so far on the shawl? Yep, love that, and my K and L. However, my J hook and I are mending our relationship for this tea-cow. Yeah, I think I am using the J. Yes, I'm using the J with the worsted weight. This calls for a 4.5 millimeter. So 4.5 to 5 to 5.5 to 6 is 4 sizes bigger. And I did swatch using the K. And this yarn here, the K was, it was super loose. And I really, really, really was getting so much, it was too holey. the fabric was not dense enough. It was too loose. But if you crochet super tight, you may have to use a K. There will be gauge swatches to talk about how many inches and how many stitches and everything else to go along with that. I'm super excited about all of that. And I need to figure out how much yarn this is going to use for fingering, the finger weight, because I know it's going to be more yarn and more rows, because, you know, if you're using anything that's that thin, you're going to have more rows and you're going to have more stitches wide, and that just goes with things. And that's why I think a lot of people want to use a number 4 worsted weight to do this. But like I said, the number 4 worsted weight is almost, to me, I think it's working up too thick. You know, this would be a great piece if you guys wanted to use this as a cowl. You know, you could work up with this knit stitch, you know, and actually, if you wanted to, you could kind of add a button here and work this up diagonally, you know, set it diagonal, wrap it around your neck, come down on the other side with it and add a button. I think it would be cute, but that's up to you guys what you want to do with it. If you want to work something that long with this, or if you just want to keep this as your practice piece or baby blanket for your baby dolls that your kids got, whatever. I'm kind of really liking this. I'm liking the way that it worked out. I really am. I think, like I said, the next step is to get the name and get the decal up, and it should be getting up. I'm hoping this weekend that we can start to set it up. You know, please don't ever see any of the events in this group and think, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to join. I'm not going to be able to get this up in time. We have these and leave them up for like 2 years. And the reason is I know how life can get involved and things can happen, and you know, your jobs change, life changes, people pass away. You have things that go on in your life. We all have lives, and I absolutely get it. And that was one of the things that's so frustrating to people when they do say to me, you know, oh, there was a 6-week cal and it was going on, and this came up or that came up, or my husband got hurt at work and, you know, I just couldn't keep up, and now I either got to buy the pattern or I'm stuck with, you know, 3 or 4 blocks or only a quarter of it done, and, you know, I don't have the money to do that. I just paid for all of the yarn. You know, I do like to keep things in here up for a long time and give everybody the opportunity to work on things, because I know how it is with life. And, you know, that's another thing is a bunch of people have asked, you know, am I going to sell patterns? I think that I might get to that point, but if I do, I know how much work goes into a pattern and designing it and testing it, and there is a lot. But, you know, I don't ever expect to get rich from patterns or get rich from this group or get rich, you know. I know what it's like to not have, and I'd like for everybody to be able to join in on what we're doing. And, you know, if I do get to a point that I sell some of these patterns that we're working up in here or whatever, because the 2 years is up and the pattern's not in here anymore, I'm not going to be putting patterns on for $10 or $7 for the pattern. I think that, yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into them, but I want people that are on a fixed income to be able to afford the patterns, so they're not going to be outrageously priced. I think that that's just, you know, it's not fair. I know it's not one of them things where you can say, hey, you know, you can buy this pattern for this price or this price. Nobody wants to pick the higher price. But, you know, I want people to be able to look at the pattern and say, you know, I really do like that. It is worth the $3 or whatever. Angela said she's going couch hunting tonight. I've been there. I've been there a lot. Linda said, you are truly a wonderful, kind teacher, and I appreciate everything you do for all of us. Thank you, Linda. I do try to, I remember what it was like when I learned, and I remembered how frustrated I got with things, and not being able to find stuff, or, oh, this is fantastic, and then you get a book, and you're doing something, and you've got this book that's from years ago, and then you go on YouTube, and you find somebody that's doing another pattern, and you're like, that's not that stitch. Why is it called that? It's called that, you know, and that's one other thing. I love YouTube. I think it's a vast resource for things, but I think it's also, people jump on the bandwagon that if you learn, we'll say the Tunisian simple stitch. We're doing the Tunisian simple stitch, and you see somebody go in there, and they make a video, and they call it the Tunisian long stitch, you know, then somebody else learns it that way, and then the next thing you know, there's 4 or 5 videos calling this the long stitch, and you're like, this isn't the long stitch, this is the Tunisian simple stitch. What's up with these people? You know, and that's the frustrating thing that I find on YouTube, is that people will call stitches certain things, and they've not been taught that way for years. It's because they learned it that way from another YouTube video that might not be correct. And it's unfortunate. Melinda, me too. She's so sweet, so helpful. Thank you, guys. Linda said, I'm being honest when I say finding this group refreshed my love of crochet, and I found I love Tunisian better than regular. I do too. Tunisian, I do like the look of crochet. I do like the look of knitting. I love the look of knitting, but I really tried my hand at knitting and I couldn't get it. So this is like the in-between, and I absolutely love this. And that's another thing too, you know, I have gotten a few member requests from people that have seen what I'm doing and they want to learn. And, you know, local people see what I'm doing and then they want to learn, and then I have classes at people's homes and everything else. I am the type that I can't really sit still, so, you know, I do this in the group, and then I teach, and then I work, and, you know, so it keeps me busy, but I like it. I like to give back and help people, and that's just who I am. So far, do we have any questions about the practice piece that we're doing? And Melinda, let's see. You're still on here. Ugh. I know that you'll enjoy this. This is the January special, and it's got the new glitter, and it's black and silver. And this is Ria's, the January special cake. And I've got to do something because I'm out of room over there in my little cubby. So I need to find a different storage selection thingy that's going to work. But I absolutely love this. I cannot wait to work this up. I think that either a rectangle shawl that's worked from the bottom up, because then when you wrap it, you're going to have the stripes around your shoulders, or a triangle shawl that this is going to be absolutely stunning with. And this is the January special with the new glitter and black and silver. So I love this cake. Angela said, oh my, it's so shiny. Yeah, I can't wait to work this one up. I think I might actually get another one of these. This is, look at that. I feel like Gollum. My precious. And then I got Lollipop. This is going to be for a small baby blanket. Somebody wants something that's small and they can just like toss over them. And then I got this one, and it's called Cassie's Breeze. And I like this one too. Lynn said, I missed the beginning of the video. What swatch is being done, please? This is a practice piece, and it's being done to teach the stitches that we're going to be using for the rectangle shawl. So far, this at the top of the, when you go to the top of the group, it should be one of the first or second posts that comes up. If you go into the comments, there is the links for the videos, and the video, the first one shows basically we've done the original cast on, and the first row, which is the it's called your foundation row, and then it shows the purl, simple stitch, purl stitch, so that we keep the bottom from curling. Then the second video shows this pattern that we're working the simple stitch and the slanted stitch. And then the third video shows what we're going to be using for the borders, and then it shows the knit stitch. And then I am going to put a link back down to the second video, and the second video is going to be a repeat of this up here. And then from there we're going to do the simple stitch, purl stitch, simple stitch, purl stitch. So I'm going to link back to the second video, or the first video, and then I will do a separate video for the bind off so that you guys know how to do that. Lollipop looks like cotton candy. I think this is going to be perfect for the blanket that I want to do. They just want something small because they're having a summer baby, and they want something they can just kind of put over the child that's going to be lightweight, and this is going to be lightweight. I'm super excited about this color. I absolutely love it, and I can't wait to work with it. It's got pink and purple and blue and a mint green and yellow on the outside. There's mint green in there. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I'm super excited to work with that one, and I'm super excited to work with this one. I actually think I may order another one of these so that I can make something bigger. Maybe something for me. Till everybody sees it and they're like, oh, I want that. How much do you want for that? And I'll be like, well, you know, money talks. Hi, Gail. Yeah, Lynn, if you have any questions, pop on under that post and just make a comment if you're having trouble following along. This swatch we're working up, this is a number 4 worsted weight yarn, just regular yarn, and actually to not get it to curl, I had to go up 5 hook sizes, so I am actually using an 8mm instead of a 5mm that this yarn calls for. And all of the videos are there. It's going to be super easy to follow it along. And Lynn said to Angela she can't open it. If you can't open the link, like I said, when the video's over, go to the top of the page, and it'll be one of the first posts that's up there. And there'll be links under there in the comments to the videos. I know sometimes it depends on what device you're using too, if it opens. Facebook has been, some of their links work if you're on this device, and some of them work if you're on that device, and if you've shared a link from this device and you're on that device, they won't open. You gotta love it. So, another question that we've had, like I said, you'll see how the Tunisian knit stitch, how it's curling. Do not panic. My edges actually are curling a bit. They're kind of waffling. Again, I've had this thrown in a bag. I usually do not do that, but this has been something that I'm working on while I'm taking my husband to doctor's appointments and doing things. So I don't recommend throwing your project in a bag. Just like I said earlier at the beginning, I got my hook stuck in it and it pulled a stitch, so I had to sit there and work off the stitches. But people have had questions about blocking. When we're done with this, I am going to have a video on blocking. I am going to show 2 different methods of blocking. So, because I know so many are afraid of blocking with steam. Personally, I do not recommend blocking with an iron. And the reason is, if you get too close to your project, or your steam is too hot, or your fibers are different from the last time that you did this, and it starts to kill the fiber, what happens is your stitches on things they have some texture to them. They pop. You know, you can see a V, and you can see that there's a divot and that this stitch comes through. You know, it has dimensions to it, and that's what makes crochet and knitting and all of these fantastic. And what happens is, if you get too close with the steam when you block, the fiber, because acrylic, which is most of what we work with, is plastic, it will become really shiny. The stitch will become very flat. It will have no definition, and your swatch will grow like sometimes up to 4 inches. You know, even something this little that we should have like a little 4-inch, it turns into like a 6-inch thing because you have killed the fibers. So, I like the little handheld steamers. A lot of people that have them, there are ones that you can do like a low steam or a high steam, or like a low temperature and a high temperature. So for those of you that have the handheld steamers, this is going to be great. And if you do not, we are going to also, I'm going to show the wet blocking. And that way you guys can use some lukewarm water and, you know, a spray bottle that you can get at the Dollar Tree, and you're done. People were talking about blocking boards and not having money. Now, I know how expensive craft stuff can get, and I try to keep things down to a minimum. And I try to buy things cheaper because none of us here in this house are rich. A great use for your practice block is to practice blocking. Yes, Angela, that would be a great opportunity too. So, what I wanted to say is, you do not need to go out and buy blocking mats at Joann's or Michael's and feel like you need to spend a ton of money and you need to, no. You don't need to do any of that. You actually can block on super simple things. Now, they have the ABC mats and the number mats that, like kids, they're the foam mats. I know sometimes Ollie's have them, sometimes like Target and stuff like that will have them cheaper. Now, Facebook Marketplace is fantastic. Pop on there and see if somebody has them listed on there, or pop on and make a post. Hey, I'm looking for the alphabet mats or the number mats. I went to my local Facebook Marketplace and I got this, and it is missing the middle of the 9. So, people did not want to pay for these number blocks because, oh my gosh, it's missing the center of the little 9. I'm using it for blocking. I don't really care. So for $2, I got this. Oh, maybe it's not the 9. I think maybe it's the 6. Either way, that's what I got. And this bag is quite thick. And these are fantastic, and like I said, people went on there and said to this woman, I don't understand why you're asking, you know, you should give it away for free. She was asking $2. So I jumped on it and I said, oh, this would be fantastic for blocking my crochet work. And, you know, Facebook luckily is one of them first come, first served things. So since I commented that, then all these crafters commented under it. Oh, I should have thought of that, blah, blah, blah. I'll pay more. And she's like, no, it's first come, first serve. So I lucked out. You guys can luck out on Facebook Marketplace and things like that. Um, I don't know if Craigslist is still a thing. I don't use it. I never did. So, and I'm usually on Facebook, so Facebook Marketplace comes up on my stuff. So yeah, if you guys want to and you don't want to spend the money, make an ad, Facebook Marketplace. Tell them you're looking for these little alphabet number mats, and you know, if they're missing pieces or whatever and you can score them cheap enough, you're looking for it for a crafting thing. You're not looking for it for, so even if one or two of the pieces are gone, you guys will still be fine. If you want to spend the money and get the blocking mats because that's what you want to do, that's fine. I'm just trying to give a cheaper alternative. And like Stephanie said, you can also check out your local thrift stores. Sometimes they do get them in. We have a local sale around us that's for kids items, but usually some of this stuff they actually price pretty high. And it's almost yard sale season too, said Debbie. Yeah, so, you know, look around. You guys can always find something cheaper. And when I originally started out too, I went to one of the thrift stores and found a cotton blanket, and I put it on my spare bed and blocked on that under the ceiling fan, wet blocked, you know, and let it dry under the ceiling fan, and it was great. You know, because when you wet block, or you can even spray block. If you wet block, basically what you're doing is you're kind of washing your project, or you're getting it soaked, and then you can kind of put it in on an extra spin. You can even hand wash if you want to. If you feel more comfortable, you can hand wash, then put it in the dryer on the spin cycle, and it will spin all of the water out of it, and it will be enough that you can block it after that. Or you can do the spray where you take your project the way that it is, you put it on the bed, and you're going to spray it with lukewarm water. I like warm water because I feel like with the starches and stuff in the fabric, it works a little bit better than the cold water. And like I said, the blocking mats for $2, you couldn't pass it up. So, do we have any other questions for this evening? Anything about the practice swatch that we have going on, the practice piece? Anything about the yarns I showed? Anything? Yeah, so obviously I'm going to have to get a bigger cabinet because my Rhea's yarns, and there's 2 more cubbies behind me, are completely full, so I need a different thing. My camera likes moving on me tonight. It does what it wants. Where did you order the yarns from? Actually, these are Rhea's little favorites. They're little favorites by Rhea. We can post a link to her business page. She also has a group, and they have monthly a monthly club cake, and this was a January cake. Thank you, Angela. You're so fast. That's her group. She also has a business page. I like her group because they have a monthly cake, and so what they'll do is, I'll give you an example. This could be the monthly cake for, we'll say April. It's not, but we're going to use this as an example. This could be the monthly cake for April, but maybe you don't like that. So maybe she'll offer 2 other color schemes of this worked up so that it's wrapped differently. Or she may do this, and it may have, this one will have pink and purple, and the next one will have green and black, and the next one will have purple and chartreuse or something in it. And she'll do like 3 different cakes. So you have the choice to choose between these. Or she'll do a cake where Okay, this is the monthly cake, but you have the option of this or this. And she'll say, okay, you have the monthly cake, or you can choose cake 1 or cake 2. And that's why I like the club, and I usually will get something like once a month because of that. It's because I have the opportunity to check and say, okay, I like this, or I like that, or, you know, I don't like that. And you don't feel obligated that you have to buy something every month either. There are months where she'll have a cake and I'll be like, you know what, I don't really like that too much. So then you can go under the post and say pass, and then you won't get billed. Thank you, Angela. That's her business page as well. She also does custom cakes. Melinda, or you need to crochet faster. I'm crocheting as fast as I can go here, and I'm designing. That takes a while. I've had to frog so many rows. It was sad in the beginning. There were a lot of words that should not have been heard by anybody that came out of my mouth. It was not ladylike at all. So, do we have any more questions for this evening? There will be a blocking video. There will be, I might just link the bind off video that I have. I'm not sure. But there will be the series will be added into the videos for the rest of this. So, for the practice piece that we're doing. So, if y'all got any more questions, don't hesitate to ask. Ask in here, ask in the group. If you need help, a lot of our mods, you can message them or message me or Erica, or Angela's usually on too, quite a bit of the time. As my son says, maybe you should have been born an octopus. That would be nice, but I don't know with an octopus if I would be able to concentrate on doing several different patterns. So, do we have any more questions about the practice? Is that wicked yarn for Maria? Yes, it is. I think it's very Harlequin-y for what I'm going to work up with it, so I'm excited. Actually, all of this is from Maria. I'll have to post a picture of each block one day. Beverly said beautiful. I think it is too. Thank you. That was, I made a simple New Year's resolutions. I was like, I'm going to get my cubbies filled. And I did. So, I've met my New Year's resolution. Well, I guess if we do not have any more questions, Rhea also sells yarn dildos. That is what they're called. Says, I love my yarn. And they spin, and you can put cakes or whatever on it, and it will spin. I take a little bit of the grippy shelf liner and set this on. So when I crochet, because this is super slippery, it doesn't pull off of there. Gloria said you're going to need a floor-to-ceiling cubby. Yeah, I think I might. But it looks pretty. And I like it. It works up nice and soft. That's what I said. I think that the next shawl that I do, rectangular, I'm going to do from the bottom up. So, I'm super excited. So, if we have no more questions this evening, I'm going to wrap things up. If you guys think of something later on, post in the group. Please post. I know that post approval's been on, but things have been a little hectic, and I would rather pop in and approve a post right now than with things being crazy and me and being at doctor's appointments and working crazy hours, than for you guys to come in here and see spam and all of the other things that people post in groups. So that's why it's on right now. Hopefully by the time my husband finishes physical therapy, everything will be back to normal. So, please, if you got any questions, don't hesitate to ask. This is a teaching group. So, everybody have a fantastic week. I will see you guys next Wednesday. And happy crocheting. Bye, guys.